You ever have a total stranger try to steal your land out from under you, waving some fake paperwork in your face, threatening you with a 30-day countdown pay, 88 grand, or lose everything you've worked for? Yeah, that happened to me right there at my own kitchen table on a Tuesday morning coffee, not even cold yet. Thanks to an HOA I never signed up for on a ranch I bought at a county auction with dues and rules I never agreed to. That's how I learned there's nothing quite as dangerous as a bored bully with a clipboard and a little too much time on her hands. My name's Rex Dalton, and I've been swinging hammers and fighting off bureaucrats for 30 years. If there's one thing I know, it's how to spot a scam a mile off. 6 months back, I bought myself 40 acres of Texas pasture at auction, a good old spread that had sat empty after the last owner died, barns leaning, but not broken fences full of holes and stories, no sign of an HOA anywhere. But sure enough, while I'm out patching fences and hauling off dead brush here, comes this woman named Vivian, perfume so strong it hung around my truck for days, telling me my land was part of her community now, and I owed her a fat stack of cash. Now, I don't know about you, but if someone tried to shake me down for money I didn't owe, calling it community fees or protection dues, well, that's when my stubborn side wakes up. What would you do? Drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Bet half of y'all have HOA stories of your own. Because I sure wasn't about to back down from some designer blazer tyrant who thought she could bully the working man. Let me back up a sec, give you the lay of the land. I'm 52, divorced, a builder by trade. After the dust settled on my marriage, I put every dime I had into a piece of land, something real, something no one could take away, or so I thought. Mitchell Place, 40 acres, 2 barns, and a 1970s farmhouse, begging for some TLC. The last owner, Clarence Mitchell, was old school, worked this ground all his life until he passed, no will, family too far to care. That's how the county got it and how I got it fair and square, boots crunching gravel the first morning I walked the line diesel hanging in the barn air, mist rolling over the pasture. First time my daughter Sage came out, she said, "Dad, we could get horses, have a party back here." I hadn't felt that hopeful in a long time. For 3 days I thought I'd found peace, until a white BMW pulled up dust cloud in its wake, and out stepped Vivian Harwick, hair perfect, clipboard in hand, smile sharp as a razor. "Mr. Dalton, I'm president of the Meadowbrook Estates Homeowners Association. We need to discuss your obligations as our newest member." I set my hammer down, wiped the sweat and sawdust off my hands. What association? There's nothing in my paperwork about an HOA. She gives me that look the one realtors save for folks they think can't read fine print. Oh, but there's an automatic inclusion, expanded boundaries since 2018. Your property's ours now. Then she shoves a stack of papers in my face, initiation fees, monthly dues, all backdated. Turns out Meadowbrook Estates is full of million-dollar homes, manicured lawns, McMansions as far as the eye can see. They thought us ranch folks were dragging down property values just by existing. I told her with as much patience as I could muster, "Ma'am, Clarence never signed up for this." She just sniffed. "Property boundaries speak louder than consent." Sage pops her head out, "Dad. Who's the lady with the car that costs more than our house? Out of the mouths of babes, you know what I mean?" After Vivian left, I found out my neighbors Bobby and Maria were facing the same pressure. It wasn't about community. It was about forcing us out so developers could turn the last open fields into more subdivisions. That's when I decided, not today, Karen. All right, her name's Vivian, but you know the type. 2 weeks later, a certified letter thick as a dictionary lands on my porch, intent to foreclose if I don't cough up $88,000 for unpaid dues. The nerve she was using some Texas law called super lien authority to claim my ranch as collateral for a made-up debt. I spent 3 days in the county courthouse, buried in old records, dust and all. Here's what I found. My ranch was there decades before the HOA was ever a twinkle in some developer's eye. The subdivision's only 5 years old. My land's been agricultural since the 80s. I remembered an old lawyer telling me about adverse possession. If a property's used for a purpose long enough, you can't just slap new rules on it. I started collecting every original survey, comparing them to the new maps, snapping photos. I figured once Vivian realized her legal footing was shakier than gas station coffee, she'd back down. Nope. She doubled down, even started a rumor campaign calling my clients, spreading lies that I didn't pay my bills. Cost me 2 jobs. But when she started whispering at my daughter's school, that's when I went to war. I called up Sarah Brennan, a property attorney. She looked over my documents and whistled, "Rex, this HOA's so far out of bounds they might as well be robbing banks." She told me every property buyer should always demand all HOA documents before closing. If they can't provide them, run. The twist Bobby found minutes from an HOA meeting. Turns out their budget was blown by 40% on a fancy new community center. They needed $1 million fast, and the only way was to discover a dozen ranches owed back dues. And Vivian's husband sat on the county planning commission that approved the boundary change. Nepotism at its finest. Next thing, a debt collector calls, voice like gravel, threatening to seize my assets. Then Vivian goes public PowerPoints about me at the HOA meeting, posts on Nextdoor calling me a deadbeat neighbor. The comment section lit up like a bonfire. But see, bullies make mistakes when they think they've already won. I filed a public records request, demanded 3 years of HOA finances. When those documents hit my kitchen table, it was Christmas morning for anyone who loves catching crooks. 40 grand to Vivian's own consulting company, 30 to her brother-in-law, 15 to a fake communications firm owned by her college roommate. They even tried to push through a $12,000 per household special assessment, but homeowners revolted, so Vivian set her sights on us ranchers. By now, my little fight had become a movement. Bobby and Maria helped rally a dozen families. Maria organized a community campaign. Bobby combed through every contract with military precision. My daughter Sage turned into a social media ninja. Her TikToks about HOA Karens trying to steal our land hit 50,000 views and got the attention of the local news. Vivian started getting desperate, snooping around my barn at night, calling in false complaints to the county, even sugar in my tractor's tank. But every time she tried to trip me up, she left a trail of evidence. Then the real kicker, I found the original 1987 developer covenant in the courthouse files. Black and white existing ranch properties were permanently exempt from any HOA governance forever, not just mine, but 11 other families. Vivian had been breaking the law every time she threatened us, filed liens, collected fees, harassed families. As a real estate agent, she was supposed to know this, not just civil, but criminal. "Sarah, our attorney said you want to go nuclear?" I nodded. We started prepping a class action lawsuit, filing complaints with the state attorney general, alerting the news. The week before the HOA meeting, our story hit TV. Community was outraged. Vivian's support evaporated. Board members quit businesses, sided with us. The sheriff opened an investigation into her harassment and false reports. The final act, the showdown at the community center. The place was packed, reporters, neighbors, ranchers, even Deputy Harrison standing in the back. Vivian tried to call me a trespasser. Sarah stood up, "Cool as you like. My client has every right to address these accusations." I plugged in my laptop, put the covenant on the projector for all to see, permanent exemption signed and sealed. The crowd gasped. I showed them the money trail, Vivian paying herself, her brother-in-law, her college roommate. Played the audio of Vivian trying to bribe me to leave my own property. Deputy Harrison stood up. "Mrs. Harwick, you're under investigation for harassment, filing false police reports, and trespassing." Sarah handed over the class action paperwork, over $1 million in damages. The room turned on Vivian, homeowners demanding answers, board members fleeing. By midnight, she'd resigned in disgrace, her real estate license, suspended, felony charges coming. The new HOA board, led by Maria and Bobby, passed new bylaws protecting ranchers, audited every contract, turned the failed community center into a public garden and scholarship fund. Sage and I watched the sunset on our land, ours protected and thriving. Funny thing, standing up to bullies made my business boom. Clients wanted the guy who took on the HOA. Sage went off to college studying environmental law, ready to help the next family. Every year we throw a ranch heritage festival on that land with food, music, and a little lesson in property rights for anyone who cares to listen. So let me ask you, what would you do if someone tried to steal your home with a stack of fake papers and a pretty smile? Ever had to fight back? Drop your stories in the comments. I read every one. If this fired you up, hit subscribe and ring that bell. The world's got plenty more Vivians, and it's going to take all of us to stand up and knock them down one clipboard at a time.